Welcome back, Scorpios. Welcome back to Deku Tarot. It's so nice to be back. I know it's been a while, and I just want to say happy birthday to all of you. I'm so sorry I missed out on October and Samhain. I love you guys so much. I felt it was only right to come back in your season, which I actually believe is the last time I was posting videos. As you can see, we're in a new spot. A lot has changed, but we're not going to waste this video, which is for you, on talking about me and what I've been doing the past year. So if you do want to know about that, maybe I'll do something on here or Instagram if you really want to, but sometimes life just gets busy, a lot happens, and you need to take a step back. But let's get into your reading here, into your energy. So much is happening right now astrologically, such an intense energy. Even actually this week and today, we have this really tense Mars and Mercury, Mars squaring Saturn, Mars squaring Mercury thing that is happening today and tomorrow, really. So the 9th through the 12th are going to be a very intense time, and because, you know, Mars is in your sign, the sun is in your sign, it's very poignant and very prominent in your life right now, these feelings. This intense energy with Mars in your sign of forging ahead, of really making huge strides and feeling very successful, feeling like you're very much, you know, going 100 miles an hour in the direction that you want to be going in, and you're very, very focused. But I do want to see what the cards here have to say before I get too into everything. I do have some astrology notes that I gave myself here as well, just to remind myself of a couple of important things to mention. But let's just get into this. We're using the Hermetic Tarot. If you guys haven't, do make sure to subscribe, and you can check me out over on Instagram. Like I said, I did take kind of a big step away from social media for a while, so I haven't been posting as much on there, and obviously I haven't been very prevalent on YouTube, but I do hope to come back and, you know, approach this in a very different way, which I do recommend. After this, I will be doing actually the Taurus reading. I recommend you check out, you know, their reading as well, because it is your opposite sign. And you and Taurus are making such huge just changes right now. This is a really, really big month for both of you. Obviously, especially you, this is going to be a really huge end of the year, huh? Okay, let's just get into it. I'm waiting for a card to pop out here. Oh my gosh. And it may feel so much right now that things are just going in the direction you want them to. You've got your focus, you've got this focus, this laser focus right now, it feels, on so many things. Well, on so many things, really on the specific things that you are laser focused on. I worded that wrong, but I'm just holding all these cards here. But instead of doing that, let's look at these first two cards that came out. Because I don't really have an overhead camera right now, we're just going to look at them held up. And again, this is my Hermetic Tarot. I really wanted to use something more watery and warm for you guys, but you guys just have a very sharp, very intense, very fired up energy, and I'm going to attribute that to the sun and Mars being in your sign. And like I was saying, it feels like the world is your oyster right now. Like things are really opening up in huge ways. Something that you have been wanting to get to a certain point, you know, especially in terms of career, in terms of your success and what you attribute to your own successes. So yes, you could be doing, you know, not even that well at work, but if you're doing successful in a different, if you feel that you are successful, if you are making personal strides, it's going to feel very different. Although I will say I do see you guys having a lot of success from now through the end of the year in terms of career and work. And it just feels so nice. So just like why would I stop now? And yet at the same time, the universe is asking you to be very aware of the astrology at this time and the energy, because yes, it might feel like you have so much momentum, you have so much like that you are just running towards these goals, but there's a very confrontational energy that is also approaching and will meet you head on if you don't take a step back and pull back where you're being asked to. And these could come up as little, just intuitive pushes, or feeling like you might need to rest, feeling like you need to take a step back, feeling like you need to reach out to a specific person to do something very specific. Heed those things, because you're being asked, even though you don't want to step back and be in a bit of a pause on some of the things that you want to just run at. You have these ideas, you have these goals, and they're just so grandiose and amazing, and that's amazing, it's wonderful. But with this approaching energy, this Saturnian, much more focused on the rules and how is this going to be built up, what is the structure of this, asking you, how does this make sense? Is it feasible? Is my plan doable? Am I going to get there in this way? And you might not want to ask those things because you're riding such a high wave right now. But it's really important and will save you so much trouble down the road to heed these things, to take a step back. If somebody, especially in terms of relationships, let's talk about that, because I do want to say, and I do want to mention, we're going to be using 2 decks in this. We're going to talk about emotion as well as talking about this more intense energy. But the first card, when I was trying to, I like to test the decks if I'm getting a vibe from one, is, are you the deck that wants to be read for this reading? Do you want to read for Scorpio? Are you in that energy? I kind of try to connect with them and see what comes out. And this one immediately was 2 of Cups. And under that was the 2 of Swords. There it was as well. They both came out. And so let's talk about that. Because usually I don't like to take cards that I've pulled before the reading, but those just felt so like they immediately snapped right out of the middle of the deck and flung themselves right over face up. So I want to talk about a little bit of the emotional aspects here as well. Because yes, we're riding this high wave, everything's going so good, and we're in this really high, intense, focus-driven Scorpio energy that we might not realize how we're coming across to other people at this time. And that we might be putting certain things by certain relationships, and again, I'm not just talking about romantic, but just friendships, people in your family, people who are trying to take time to connect with you and are reaching out to you. And, at this time, connections are extremely important. It's really important to heed and to be very focused as well there. You can't just be laser focused on this one little, on this huge wave of success that you're riding and all this momentum. Because while you're riding that, it's not going anywhere. You're going to be fine, but you want to make sure you pay attention to the things that could mess up that momentum, that could mess up this wave that you're riding that you think is totally untouchable. It's very touchable. It's very, we don't, it's through overworking, over-focusing, and not noticing the relationships around you. If you're so focused and you lean so much into your successes, sorry, I'm going to hold this up. This is my John Bauer tarot, by the way. And I'm going to put it up right just so you can get a good picture of it, but it's the 8 of Pentacles reversed. And I see it in both ways. So yeah, we're going to hold it up right. But, this is just very, to me, this is very much speaking about how you're focused on work right now. Because, it came up with, these 2 cards came up, but I felt like there was more to it. And they're very beautiful. And we're going to talk about the imagery as well. But if you spend too much time and lean so much of your energy and time and everything into these ambitions, into your successes, into this really, really high wave that you're riding here, you might end up creating a huge chasm really between those that you love and yourself. And that could deeply hurt these relationships, and it could mess up any of the work that you have spent building this back up from wherever. This could be a relationship that has had issues, friendships that have had issues, but in general, any relationship needs work and effort and appreciation on both sides that is equal to grow. And if you do not remember these relationships, remember the people that you love in this moment. Remember those people that supported you and were there for you when you weren't riding this wave and helped you get to this point, then they're going to be lost. You might end up hurting people so irreparably this season and that's something we're going to talk about throughout this, that you might lose some very important relationships that you don't want to. So it's really important that you pay attention to how you treat the people that you care about the most. If you treat them with respect, if you treat them with love, if you're putting in the same amount of effort that they are, if you have friends and family that are reaching out to you and you're constantly pushing them back and pushing them away, they're not going to come back. You can't continue to push everybody away. You yourself might need to step away if you're feeling that, or communicate that that's what you need to do. And there's going to be some really big decisions here, obviously. When you have 2 2s on the table, there's decisions that have to do with relationship and love here. And ones that you know you have to make at some point, and yet for some reason we're still sitting on this fence. So let's talk about that a little bit. And don't worry, we'll get back to the Hermetic Tarot too. But it's important that it's really important that you don't unconsciously hurt people, because you could end up in this cycle that I find that Scorpios get into. I mean, anyone can get into this, but I have a lot of Scorpios in my life, and there's a lot of cycling with emotions where they might snap and, you know, say some really, come off very harshly and very intensely, or be very cold in a very harsh way. And if you do that earlier in the month, when this energy is harsh around the 9th through the 12th with, you know, the Mercury and Mars, and the Mars squaring Saturn, and the 16th through the 18th, we also see, I just wanted to check that. I was like, I know that there's another really tense moment there. And the 16th through the 18th as well, we have this very tense moment with Uranus. And Uranus is in Taurus, which is your opposite sign. And it's really important that we don't become overly harsh within our relationships because of that. Because if you're coming across as the Queen of Swords, as cold, unfeeling, not able to put any energy, any emotion into this, then the people that are approaching you with love and emotion and are trying to show you this and trying to appreciate you in this way and are gassing you up because, hey, it's your season, all eyes are on you with Mars, and then Mercury moving into your sign as well on the 6th. I think it's already in your sign. I think I just said the 6th, right? I think it's already in your sign. So yes, Mercury, Mars, and the Sun, I believe, are all in your sign. And that is a very harsh, very scorpionic energy, but it also, again, like I was saying, puts all this energy, focus, and attention on you. I mean, it is your season. Already all eyes were on you, but like a lot more at this moment. And it's really important, and I can't stress that enough, that you just... How do I put this into words? Cards help me. That we don't be too reactive. That's the best way to put it, I think. That we don't be too reactive. It's strange, because I was very much thinking about your reading on the way back, and I was listening to some music, and there's a song that I was listening to, and just some of the lines in it were, you know, I can't believe, like, I lance my hand to help destroy a helpless man, you know, what was it? There was another line as well that felt very poignant to me about your reading, and that's actually why I'm doing the reading now, is I felt it, and I was like, that just really felt like Scorpio energy to me. You might not have meant to cause pain in that moment. You might have been trying to, you know, better your life, do your own thing, focus, you know, your focus is elsewhere, but in your actions, in your passive actions towards those involved, you might truly hurt somebody who is truly just showing up to you with love, appreciation, affection. And we don't want to push them away. It's strange. I'm actually kind of drawn to go back to the Hermetic for this part. But it's just... It's a beautiful month, don't get me wrong. This is wonderful for you. This is the time to embrace all this wonderful new energy towards opportunity, towards growth, towards self-growth, and towards finally letting go and really being able, I think, to say goodbye to an era of yourself that you've been waiting to say goodbye to for a while. It's like, are you ready? Are you truly ready for the success, for the happiness, for it all? Are you ready to have all eyes on you at this moment? It's just, while all eyes are on you, be very aware that the energy right now is very destructive and chaotic, and you are kind of at the forefront of it. Interesting that all this stuff shows up here. I feel like I got one more coming out here. As I knew. Yeah. So. We have Moon. And next to that, the Two of Cups. And the Devil. There's a lot of fear and control that you have at the focus of relationships right now. It's almost as if you wish you could chain somebody up to make them be exactly what you want them to be. Because you're so afraid of trusting that they can, you can't trust. And that's really what the issue is. You have a lot of fear and you have a lot of fears that are all wrapped around your ability to trust here. And your ability to truly love. And I think what's really holding you back is the aspect of control here. And again, this might not just be a love relationship. This can be a different type of relationship, whatever. But regardless, I feel like there are very high expectations that you have in terms of love and in terms of this other person. Again, it can be a lover, it cannot be a lover. It might be a child, it might be parent even. It's somebody in your life here that means so much to you. For a lot of you, this is definitely about love. And you have such specific and high expectations for somebody that they can never live up to, because they can't read your mind. They would never know what it is they're supposed to live up to if you don't communicate that to them. But it's also not how you love somebody. It's almost as if you believe that you will only be happy, that this relationship can only work, that this love can only be if you control it. And you cannot do that. So you're going to continue to be stuck in this cycle of fear and mistrust that the other person can live up to these expectations that you're not telling them about, that they would never know, that are also impossible to live up to, because in order to live up to them, in order for these expectations to be reached, you would have to be in control of the whole situation. You would have to make all the decisions for them. And it's a very poignant place to be in. I'll just say that. You cannot control who somebody else is. You can only accept them for who they are and love them regardless. Forgiveness is needed here. And yet there's this need to control the situation, but they're not reacting in the way that I want them to. But they're not doing what I want them to. But it should be this way. And it's also interesting, when I was driving home and thinking about you guys and your reading, I just kept thinking of, it's so strange because I heard that song and then I don't know why. I don't know, Walter White. And I know that a lot of people are going to probably get mad at me about that because I love you guys, but it'd be really hard to ignore the fact that a fixed sign such as Scorpio doesn't needs control. Like it's hard to ignore that fact. Control is a huge part about who you are and what you need in a situation. And when you don't feel you are in full control of the romantic relationship, of what somebody's thinking, doing, feeling, and how, you know, you believe they should be acting towards you, the steps that they should be taking to make something right, to make something work, to do something specific. They cannot reach that. You can't expect people to do that. And because if you do, you're just going to end up pushing them away, because you'll end up getting upset with them for never reaching these expectations that, again, they didn't know about in the first place. You cannot, it's almost as if, like, you don't want to control the situation. You wish it would all just happen exactly how you want it to, but in that exact, by doing that, you are controlling the situation, if that makes sense. I feel like I just said that kind of really weird. I'm trying to find a better way to word this. Whatever it is that you want, you're going to have to speak about it. You're going to have to do something real about it, because otherwise it will die in your head. And you will end up in a cycle of fighting with this other person, whoever this is involved with. That is ugly. Well, it's ugly. But you have to realize that what you say and how you communicate what you say is very important to how this situation turns out. So you have to be clear about it. You have to be clear about what you're feeling, about what you would like. And that might be very difficult for you. And like I said, if you, with the intense astrology that is happening right now, it's very confrontational. I would not be surprised if you say exactly how you feel, but in a way that you probably don't mean. So it's really important to monitor why it is that we're angry about this situation, what it is that brings up this emotion, what it is that turns this little sword into something so huge it can chop off somebody's head in their entire relationship. Because what you might perceive as nothing might be absolutely heart-wrenching, absolutely heartbreaking to the other person. You can very easily cut off relationships in this season that you don't want to. You can very easily hurt people that you really don't want to. So I'm just going to warn you about that, because you guys have so much energy behind you right now. It's kind of terrifying. I'm not trying to make this seem like a harsh reading, because I love you guys. But sorry about that. Let me get back to this. Somebody was at the door. But we have, like I was saying, this energy that grows throughout the month. Things that you say at the beginning of the month, the harsh things that you probably don't mean, that you also really probably weren't even trying to hurt anybody with. Your intentions were completely different probably than how this was taken and what happened, but it can be very poignant in terms of how this affects somebody else. It might feel like this to you, but it's like this to somebody else. And usually I love the Ace of Swords, but this feels very cold. And it's not bad for you because you're having success. You won't notice that this is actually, that this silence, that how people reach out to you and how you either reject, hurt, or don't respond to them can be very detrimental to the relationships in your life during this month. So again, it's just something very, very important to really watch that, to watch how you're communicating in your energy. But I do want to say, I mean, you have so many you do have a lot of really wonderful energy behind you for creating in the new. I mean, your first card out was the universe. It's a new chapter. It's a new you. It's a new moment. And by that lunar eclipse, right around then, I do feel like it's going to be a really beautiful moment for you to kind of look at relationships and look at what you want. Not just relationships, because it's in Taurus and it's a lunar eclipse. We can't not mention the relationship aspect of that. It's going to be a really beautiful moment for you to take stock, I think, and, recognize those that again, it's like separate yourself emotionally from anything from the past. Look at who these people are, what they've done for you, and how you feel about them now moving forward. And it's a really great moment to appreciate and show love and appreciation in relationships. You have a lot of really good moments to fix situations, to fix relationships this month. I know I'm talking about all the negative things, but I do think there are things that you should be very aware of. Being a Scorpio as well, I do think that sometimes you guys need to be talked to about how you do come across, because you don't mean to come across the way that you do, but that's why people hate on you so much. And I understand what you're doing, and I understand what you're saying, because I think Tauruses can sometimes, you know, have the resting bitch face. We can be a little bit rude, can be a little bit blunt. We can even just, like, you know, can be pretty mean. And so can you, but we're opposite signs, so we can be mean sometimes. All right, well, let's just be real about it. But we don't want to be, and we're not trying to be. So these are all really important things to recognize, and we don't realize that that's when it's in our energy at this time. But like I said, there's also really, like, the seeds that you plant now are going to grow into something so much bigger than you've ever seen and that you would have thought that you would be doing. It feels like in terms of work, like you're starting new ventures that are going to pick up and be something that you never would have expected. So just be ready for that. And I'm not even gonna go any further with that. Just be open. Be open to change. I know it's awkward. I know you don't like it, but whatever change is coming in terms of work, in terms of career this month, take it, run with it, and, you know, just be open to it. It's really looks like it's going to grow into something beautiful, especially by Aquarius season. I do want to talk now a little bit about some of these fives that popped out around the Hanged Man, having to do with emotion and relationship here. Because the Hangman is really, really beautiful in this deck. I love this. The way he's looking up at this girl who's just going to sit in this tree and just admiring her. And it's a really wonderful fairy tale moment. And yet it's also it's just like very slow and peaceful feeling. Like neither of them are trying to go anywhere. They're just kind of enjoying the energy. She's sitting up there. She's not coming down. And he's not going up. This is about an unchanging situation, a situation that's been on pause. If you and somebody else have been in separation, have been in this kind of pause of take a step back, look at the situation, see what we want to do, whatever this might be, whatever type of separation you're in, it's been on your mind, you have been thinking about it, and it has been on pause though. And while you've been riding this wave, you might not have paid it much mind other than this intense energy that you have left over to actually throw at this, which is a bit too intense, I think, because we have two fives surrounding it. We had the Five of Cups here, which is very sorrowful and mournful, and to me it really talks about your own heartache and how it's coming across in this Five of Swords. It's almost like this need to fight, this need to attack someone with words, to make them hurt the same way that they have hurt you. There's emotional pain that you were holding deep within you that you are still focused on because it is upright, it's not reversed. When it's reversed, I take that very much as a note that we are moving beyond the emotional loss and the focus on that and this grieving kind of energy. But instead, you have channeled this into this, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier with relationship and this need to control. It's like you will not be happy if you control them, but you believe it so deeply that you're willing to act in a way that I don't think you will like when you look at it later on. So don't act vindictively. Don't try to get back at somebody. Don't try to control their reaction because you yourself are feeling a certain way, maybe because of something that they did, or maybe it has nothing to do with them. But there's a lot of this five contentious energy, and it is going to be brought to a head in maybe some ugly ways if we're not, sitting back and really looking at why that is. When that energy comes up, look at why you feel that need to control. What is it that you fear that puts you in that position, that makes you want to do that with this relationship? What you have to know is that even if this person were to submit and be everything you want them to be, to behave exactly the way that you want them to, it will not make you happy, and it will not make you feel loved. Even if you believe wholeheartedly that it will. And that's okay. You're clearly hurt. But let's see what comes up here. You don't want to get stuck in that energy. It's almost like, again, I'm sorry to bring up the fives, even though I just pulled out these other two cards, but I just think that it's important to look at them. Because look at the way that, like, just like the mirroring of just like how this is all played out is just very interesting to me. Sorry, I'm holding these backwards. I'm being messy about this. I haven't done this in a while on a camera. I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like I used to be a lot smoother at this, but after taking a bit of a break, I'm a lot more awkward, I find. But like the way that he's peeking around the corner to watch for his moment, to watch to see what the best thing to do is. How can I, one up this person? How can I control the situation? How can I best them? How can I make sure that they're put in a position that I'm in control? That, I have the say, that I have the reins. Is that what love is? It is not. So your solution here is to get beyond this Nine of Swords energy that makes you like this fearful energy, this energy that is the buildup of all, like the amalgamation of all this hurt and this pain from the past, whatever that Five of Cups was, that is turned into this vindictive need to control. And we have to be very honest with ourselves about what it's done to our psyche and our mentality and release it. Because love is here. And as long as we're willing to lean into trust, to trust really, and to grow beyond that, because the Temperance card here, he's getting, and I really love that he's fully in water in like we're talking about you guys in Scorpio season. It's time to grow beyond through this season of being just, absolutely drowned in water. I mean, that's what Scorpio season is. It's just being absolutely dunked in there. It's not like a wave. It's not a pool. It's like you guys are the actual just ocean, just an absolute just deep dive there. And he's fully submerged. And sometimes you have to fully submerge yourself in these emotions and really look at this Nine of Swords energy. This, why am I up late at night thinking about this? Why am I still feeling this energy? Why do I feel like this all the time? Why do I feel this need to hurt and control and be stuck here? It's time to move beyond it. It's time to grow and communicate. Knight of Wands. It's time to have this more lighthearted energy, and especially towards Sag season, things will move forward in a better direction. I think that being submerged in your season and really looking at all of this will help you to grow and move beyond this in the next season. And if you're willing to look at this from a more equal perspective, Two of Cups has showed up twice in your reading here. The love is there. Don't push it away. Don't take it for granted, because the relationships that you take for granted and that you are cold to, that you are cruel to, that you decide to punish because you're feeling hurt from the past, or you're trying to gain some control in the situation rather than just be open and honest and forgiving and more emotionally mature in this moment. And that's okay. I'm not trying to get at you. Again, you guys are usually very much like this, but you have so much energy behind you right now. It's like this stuff is irritating to you and it's annoying. You don't want to deal with it. And it's not going to be that way forever though. And when it stops feeling like that, and when you stop being, riding on your wave, and you look around and nobody's there to cheer you on and, gas you up and, congratulate you, and that person is left because you've treated them in this way, I don't want to hear about it. I'm kidding, but it will hurt very much, and you don't want it to hurt. And I know that. That's not what your intentions are in this situation. You're acting from a place of pain, from a place of trauma, and it might be better to come at this when you're not coming from that place and in a less reactive state. Because once, you will move beyond this in a really, really, really beautiful way. Just trust it. Happiness is there. We have to be very aware of what makes us act the way that we do, and what makes us come across in harsh ways that we probably don't mean to. It's just very important to recognize those things. But there's so much success and happiness and joy to be had. And there is a partnership with somebody that is, you know, is coming to you with genuine love, genuine affection, genuinely wants to work on this. But it's all about how you react and what you do in response that will dictate how we feel about the decisions we made in this moment later on. Do you want to regret how you acted, especially in the beginning of your season, or do you want to start Sagittarius season off in a really wonderful place? You just got to watch what you do. Just got to be very aware and be ready to face some things, because, you know, if you don't, I'm telling you, the astrology is going to throw it in your face. It's not nice at the end of this year. And this is a really rough week that I'm reading this during. But actually, I think we're just going to end it there. I feel like there's no more cards to pull. I really love you guys. I'm so excited to be back. If you want to book a private reading, please email me first. I am not taking on too many right now just because I am so busy all the time. But I hope you enjoyed this. Your reading is going to be obviously a lot longer than everybody else's, so I hope you enjoyed that as well. I love you guys so much. Do remember to subscribe if you want to. Follow me over on Instagram and leave me a comment. I love reading them. I missed you guys so much. It's so good to be back. And I will see you guys in the other videos.